Cheetah creeps up on man. Then the unexpected. But before we start, please take a moment to give this video a like, subscribe to Happy World, and hit the bell so you'll never miss these great stories. Cheetah leaves man gasping when it stalks him as he sleeps. What the powerful predator did to the vulnerable naturalist was astounding. Wild animals have long fascinated mankind. Ancient Egyptians kept leopards as pets. Ferrets became domesticated in 750 BC. Today, more and more homes are keeping red foxes. But have you ever considered owning a cheetah? One man did. The naturalist thought it was an incredible idea, until he fell asleep in the field where the cheetah was kept. Suddenly, the caregiver was being stalked. His survival hung in the balance. Dolph C. Volker was considered a madman by those close to him. Being a qualified zoologist, he'd long appreciated exotic animals, but nobody anticipated just how close he was willing to get to them. A few years ago, Dolph began to visit a cheetah sanctuary in South Africa. It focuses on rehabilitating and saving the endangered species. And it was here that something remarkable happened. The event would change Dolph's life forever. Sadly, due to loss of habitat, the cheetah is now considered to be a vulnerable species. There are only an estimated 9,000 left in sub-Saharan Africa. As such, more people are trying to band together to save this big cat. Dolph C. Volker was one of them. He decided to join the Cheetah Experience in Bloemfontein, South Africa. But nobody anticipated what the cheetah would do to Dolph while he slept in the field. Even though Dolph was a naturalist, he kept a safe distance from the animal at first. He would visit the sanctuary and interact with the animal through a fence, until he got too confident. Dolph insisted it was time to encounter the animal, and so he began to get closer to the cheetah, touching it through the fence. He even allowed it to lick his face, but then something gruesome happened. Even against warning, Dolph let the cheetah groom him. For the big cat, this is an important bonding process. However, the cheetah's tongue is littered with sharp, barb-like hairs. These are meant to pull meat from the bones of their prey. They also detangle fur when the animals groom one another. But Dolph had no fur. When the cheetah licked his face, Dolph began to bleed. And when the cheetah tasted blood, things changed forever. Luckily for Dolph, he was separated from the animal through the fence. But the encounter was painful to say the least. As such, he returned to America. After a year had passed, Dolph returned to the cheetah sanctuary. However, this is where things took a turn for the worse. The cheetah hadn't seen him in a long time. There was no way of knowing how the animal would react, and when it did, the outcome was shocking. When Dolph returned to the sanctuary, he decided to push his luck. He wanted to be reunited with the cheetah who drew blood, but he wanted to meet the animal face to face. People warned him against this practice, but Dolph entered the animal's enclosure. However, Dolph made the crucial mistake of turning his back on the cheetah. And when a cheetah sees this happen, the result is a hunting expedition. Dolph was in trouble. Luckily for Dolph, he turned around in the nick of time. When he did so, the cheetah remembered him instantly. Instead of a bloody onslaught, the cheetah began to lick his friend hello. It was as though the animal merely wanted to say good morning. But this was a lucky outcome, and Dolph knew it, since cheetahs are wild after all. But things would turn out very differently when Dolph fell asleep in the cheetah's pen. Since the lucky narrow escape, Dolph began to get more confident, but people kept reminding him of the cheetah's power. This was no mere house cat, rather a large, powerful predator. But this meant nothing to Dolph. He'd formed a bond with the cheetah and felt comfortable with it. This caused great stress to the cheetah sanctuary workers. Dolph was frequently entering the cage now, until one fateful day, he fell asleep inside. One day, Dolph decided to visit the cheetah as usual, but it was a scorching South African summer afternoon. Temperatures were reaching the mid-90s, making it hard to stay awake. So Dolph decided to rest under the shade of a tree. But as he began to relax, he fell asleep. The cheetah saw the opportunity and began to stalk its prey. This meant one thing for Dolph. His life was about to change forever. When Dolph opened his eyes, the sight is mesmerizing. The cheetah's curled up next to him and is purring harmoniously. When a cheetah purrs, it's expressing contented happiness. Therefore, when Dolph heard the low rumble from the cheetah, he was relieved. This was a true testimony to how much the cheetah loved him. Instead of attacking as per its natural instinct, it curled up like a kitten. This humbled Dolph, and what he did next was remarkable. After the humbling experience with the cheetah, Dolph decided to adopt. He'd built a strong relationship with Gabriel, the male cheetah, since he was a cub. Dolph had loved and cared for Gabe. Now Dolph decided to buy Gabriel. This means he'd be allowed to visit Gabriel whenever he saw fit. But what was more incredible were Dolph's future plans. He had aspirations for Gabriel. In the near future, Dolph plans to relocate to South Africa. This will allow him to be with Gabriel permanently. It will also allow him to start up his own dream. Dolph plans on beginning his own cheetah conservation breeding plan. I want to improve the breeding, rewilding, and release process of captive bred cheetahs. Beginning his own enclosure with Gabe by his side, Dolph is determined to save the cheetah. Starting as a humble volunteer, Dolph really has come a long way. He had no idea one animal could change his life so profoundly. He's begun to document his encounters, releasing them across social media. Thanks to Dolph, people are falling in love with this animal. No longer is it a terrifying African predator. Now people are becoming more conscious about the cheetah's survival. This is all thanks to passionate individuals such as Dolph C. Volker. Thanks to the creation of his breeding program, Dolph will leave a legacy. He continues to share his relationship with Gabriel via social media, and the pair are a hit. With his following growing, his conservation project should be unstoppable. With the help of people like Dolph, endangered creatures stand a chance. The cheetah will survive so long as Dolph can help it. Let the cheetah live on and prosper thanks to the work of this great man.